It started with a whisper, soft and teasing, that seemed to float through the quiet of my room. I didn't even notice at first, not really. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels suspended, almost unreal. I was sitting on my bed, staring at the small, neatly folded dress on the chair across the room, and my heart was thudding in a way I couldn't quite explain. I'd seen it 100 times before in the store window, on a mannequin with perfect posture and perfect curves, but here it was in my room, waiting for me like it had always belonged. My hands itched to touch it, and yet I froze. This wasn't just about clothes. It was about something deeper, something I hadn't dared to name. The room smelled faintly of lavender, a scent my mind now associates with anticipation and nerves. I could feel my reflection in the mirror, a familiar face staring back at me, yet somehow distant. Who was I really in that reflection? Could I let her out even for just one night? Every thought bounced between fear and curiosity. What if I like it too much? What if I don't? What if someone finds out? My mind raced, but my body betrayed me with a strange, fluttering excitement I couldn't ignore. I remembered the words from earlier that day, lightly tossed like a casual joke, but heavier than I realized. "You'd look amazing in something like this." I know it. At the time I laughed it off, but now, alone with the dress and my heartbeat, I felt the pull of that suggestion like a secret I had to explore. I reached for the fabric, hesitating just above it, fingers trembling. The room seemed smaller, the shadows longer, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Tonight wasn't just any night. Something was about to change, and I couldn't turn back even if I wanted to. The first step, I realized, was the hardest. Not the dress, not the makeup, not the shoes, but admitting to myself that I wanted this. That maybe, just maybe, this was a part of me I had been hiding even from myself. And so, with a shaky breath and a racing heart, I took my first real step toward becoming her. Days before that night, everything felt normal, almost painfully so. My life had a rhythm I barely questioned, a routine I clung to like a lifeline. School, work, friends, homework, late night scrolling on my phone. The streets I walked, the rooms I inhabited, even the faces I passed by felt familiar, safe, and entirely predictable. Yet, beneath that predictability, there was a quiet restlessness I hadn't learned to name. I lived in a small apartment with my older sister, Clara, who had a kind of effortless grace I both admired and envied. She moved through life like the world was a stage designed just for her. She had a laugh that could fill the room and a way of noticing things, small, subtle things that made people feel seen. I often wondered if she noticed me the same way. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But one thing was clear: she loved fashion. Clothes weren't just clothes for her. They were expressions of moods, of moments, of who she wanted the world to see. My own wardrobe was safe. Jeans, hoodies, sneakers. Nothing daring. Nothing that made anyone look twice. I liked it that way, or at least I told myself I did. But I'd catch glimpses of myself in the mirror sometimes, imagining what it would be like to wear something soft, flowing, something that felt like it could be me without the usual walls I carried. Most times I'd shake it off. Too weird. Too complicated. But the thought lingered, a faint echo I couldn't fully silence. School was a similar mix of normalcy and subtle tension. Friends joked, laughed, and bickered, and I moved among them easily enough, hiding whatever small truths I wasn't ready to face. My best friend Jake was different. He didn't judge. He had this easy smile, the kind that made people trust him without thinking, and sometimes I found myself staring a little too long when he wasn't looking. Not in a romantic way. At least I didn't think so, but there was a comfort there, a sense that I could almost be myself if I dared. Clara, meanwhile, had a few friends who floated in and out of our apartment, people who smelled of perfume and confidence, laughter spilling over the kitchen counter. I watched them sometimes, unnoticed, fascinated by the ease with which they carried themselves. One of them, a girl named Lily, had a way of walking that seemed to bend the air around her. I remember thinking, I want to be that light. I want to move like that, feel like that, even for a moment. My room was my refuge. Posters of bands I liked, a few shelves stacked with books, a tiny desk where I doodled when no one was watching. It was simple yet comforting. But that dress on the chair that night had shifted everything. It wasn't just fabric, it was a promise, question, possibility. Even my parents, who lived a few blocks away, were part of this familiar, ordinary world. Loving, if a bit distant, absorbed in their own routines and worries. They never asked too many questions. I appreciated that, though sometimes I wished for more curiosity about me. The days leading up to that night blurred together. I went to school, worked at the small coffee shop down the street, laughed with Jake and others, and yet, in quiet moments, my mind kept drifting back to the dress. Every time I saw Clara pulling on a scarf or trying a new outfit, I felt a pang, an ache of longing I didn't have words for. I started noticing patterns. The curve of a sleeve, the softness of a scarf, the way light caught on silk. I was training myself to see, to imagine, to feel. One evening, Clara came home with Lily. They were giddy, chatting about a small party that weekend. I sat in my room, pretending to scroll through my phone, eavesdropping just a little. "You'd look amazing in something soft and flowing," Lily said to Clara, laughing. Clara rolled her eyes, but her smile betrayed her amusement. Soft and flowing. Those words stuck with me, bouncing around my chest like a heartbeat. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. Something had shifted. I didn't know it yet, but I was standing on the edge of a door I wasn't ready to open, but couldn't resist either. That night, the apartment felt different. Shadows were deeper. The hum of the city outside sounded distant, almost irrelevant. My room, my sanctuary, was suddenly a place of possibilities and fear and something I couldn't name. I kept thinking about the mirror. About who I might be if I stepped closer to that reflection, if I allowed myself even a tiny taste of what I'd been imagining. The idea terrified me, and yet it drew me in like a magnet. I could feel the tension coiling in my chest, a mix of excitement, shame, longing, and curiosity. That night, the world outside could wait. Because inside, everything was about to change, and I was powerless to stop it. It all started with a dare. At least, that's what Clara and Lily called it when they burst into my room that evening, laughter spilling around the small apartment. I was sitting on my bed, still staring at the dress, my hands nervously twisting the hem of my hoodie. I hadn't expected anyone to notice, and yet, there they were, like they had somehow known all along. "Seriously," Lily said, smirking as she leaned against the doorframe. "You've got to try it. Just once. Come on, don't be a coward." I can't," I mumbled, my voice barely audible. My fingers dug into the fabric of my hoodie. The words sounded feeble even to me. Clara rolled her eyes but didn't push. "Not exactly. You've been staring at that dress all week," she said gently. "Maybe it's time you find out why." I swallowed hard. I wanted to argue, to insist this was ridiculous, but part of me, a small, fluttering, rebellious part, wanted to say yes. That tiny voice whispered, "Just try it. See what it feels like." Lily's grin widened. "I promise, no one's going to laugh. And honestly, think you'd be amazing. Just for tonight. Pretend it's a game, okay?" I hesitated. Pretend it's a game. That sounded safe, almost innocent. Almost. And yet, even the word pretend made my chest tighten in a way I hadn't anticipated. "You don't have to," Clara added softly, though I could hear the unspoken curiosity in her tone. "But maybe you'll like it." The way they both looked at me, expectant, teasing, and somehow encouraging, was disarming. I felt cornered and intrigued at the same time. My heart hammered, every beat echoing in my ears. I didn't know if it was fear or excitement, or maybe both. Finally, I nodded, barely daring to breathe. Okay, just okay. The moment I said it, the air seemed to shift. Clara clapped her hands lightly, while Lily grabbed the dress and held it out to me like a fragile treasure. My fingers brushed the silky fabric, and a shiver ran down my spine. This was real. This wasn't a thought anymore. I was about to step across a line I'd only ever imagined in secret. Start with the basics, Lily said, her voice soft but firm. Slip it on slowly. Feel it. I turned toward the mirror, holding the dress awkwardly in front of me. My reflection stared back, hesitant, uncertain, heart racing. My breathing was shallow, my stomach twisting in knots. As I slipped my arms through the sleeves, the material felt impossibly smooth against my skin, almost electric. My reflection began to change. Not physically, not yet, but in the way I saw myself. There was something unspoken there, a spark, a recognition. Clara guided me patiently, offering small suggestions. Straighten the hem, lift the neckline slightly, adjust the belt. Lily hummed encouragements, making little comments about how the dress caught the light. Every word, every touch, even if indirect, stirred something inside me I hadn't dared to acknowledge. When the dress was fully on, I hesitated before turning to face the mirror completely. My reflection stared back at me, and for the first time I didn't recognize just me. She was there, soft, poised, vulnerable, yet undeniably alive. My breath caught in my throat. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. I was rooted to the spot, mesmerized. Lily's voice pulled me back from the edge of panic. Look at you. Seriously, you're beautiful. Like, really beautiful. I laughed nervously, a shaky, high sound that surprised even me. I don't know if I can do this, I admitted. The words tasted foreign, raw. Clara stepped closer, her hand brushing my shoulder lightly. You can. You're allowed to feel this. Doesn't make you less. You. Makes you more. Just explore it. That word, explore, hung in the air. It wasn't about being brave or daring or performing. It was about discovering something hidden, something I hadn't even known existed. The next step was shoes. High heels. I froze again, staring down at them like they were from another world. But with gentle guidance, I slipped my feet in, wobbled precariously, and then found a strange rhythm. My balance felt unfamiliar, delicate, fragile, and intoxicating. By the time they suggested makeup, my hands were shaking, but my mind was strangely clear. The brush against my skin, the soft colors, the subtle transformation. It wasn't about hiding who I was. It was about revealing something I had always kept buried. When I finally looked in the mirror again, I didn't see just the dress or the makeup. Saw her. Not someone else, not a mask, but a version of myself I hadn't dared to admit existed. And it was exhilarating, terrifying, and addictive all at once. That night, the apartment became a stage. Every shadow, every flicker of light, every whispered encouragement built a world where I could be someone new. And for the first time, I understood that the night ahead wasn't just about clothes. It was about stepping into a version of me I had never met. The first night wasn't easy. Standing in front of the mirror, fully dressed, fully aware of what I was doing, I felt like I was both dissolving and solidifying at the same time. My hands fidgeted, twisting the fabric, tugging at the hem, smoothing the folds. Every glance at my reflection sent a shiver through me, equal parts thrill and panic. Clara and Lily sat nearby, pretending to scroll through their phones, But I knew they were watching, smiling faintly, waiting for me to take the next step. It was a strange combination of encouragement and gentle pressure. I could feel it, but I couldn't tell if I hated it or secretly craved it. "Try walking," Lily said softly. Her voice was patient, teasing and coaxing all at once. "Just around the room. Like you own it." I wobbled. My first steps in the heels were unstable, almost laughable. My knees shook, my back stiffened, and I muttered curses under my breath. But with each step, I felt a little more aware of myself. The sway of the dress, the rhythm of my steps, the soft brush of my hair against my shoulders. It all felt electric. Vulnerable, yes, but alive. "You look different," Clara said after a pause. "But in a good way." Her words carried weight I wasn't ready to measure. I laughed nervously, trying to deflect. "Different isn't always good," I mumbled. But the truth, I wasn't sure anymore. The next few days were a whirlwind of stolen moments. Every chance I got, I would touch the dress again, trace the fabric, imagine the feeling of putting it on. I started experimenting with small things. Lip balm, subtle nail polish, a brush through my hair. Each small act made me nervous, exhilarated, and ashamed all at once. I began noticing details I'd never paid attention to before. How my movements changed when I walked lightly. How my voice softened when I spoke quietly. How my gestures became almost instinctively more delicate when I imagined being her. And the more I noticed, the more I realized I didn't want to stop. Jake noticed too. He didn't say anything at first, but one afternoon he paused mid-laugh and tilted his head at me. "You're different," he said with a small smile. Not mocking, not judging, just observing. My stomach twisted, a mix of fear and something else I couldn't name. I wanted to confess, to tell him everything, but the words lodged in my throat. So instead, I smiled awkwardly and shrugged it off. Yet, inside, a tiny spark of excitement flickered. What if he knew? What if he accepted it, or even liked it? Clara continued her gentle teasing. She'd leave scarves lying around, hint at outfits I could try, and drop compliments that were so casual, they felt like secret keys unlocking something inside me. "You'd look cute in this," she said one morning, draping a soft cardigan over my shoulders. I froze, caught off guard by the warmth in her tone. "Cute." The word echoed in my chest. I didn't know if I deserved it or wanted it, but it resonated. Every moment became a test, a lesson, a temptation. I found myself practicing small things in private. The way I held my hands, the tilt of my chin, the softening of my smile. Each experiment made me more aware of how different I felt. Not in a bad way, not exactly. But in a way that made me question who I really was, or who I could be. One evening, after Clara and Lily had gone out, I couldn't resist anymore. I slid into the dress again, slowly this time, savoring the feel of the fabric against my skin. I twirled in front of the mirror just a little and caught sight of myself, really caught sight. And then, unexpectedly, I laughed. Not nervously, not awkwardly. A small, genuine laugh that felt like mine and not mine at the same time. It was addictive. That night stretched into hours of experimenting. Hairstyles, subtle makeup, small gestures in the mirror. I whispered her name under my breath. Not my real name, not yet, but the one I felt belonged to this new version of me. It rolled off my tongue with a softness I hadn't known existed inside me. But along with the joy, the fear never left. I worried about being discovered, about judgment, about the consequences if anyone found out. The thrill of hiding, it became almost as intoxicating as the transformation itself. Every sound outside my room, every creak of the apartment, sent a jolt through me. I was playing with fire, and yet I couldn't stop. Then came the first outing. Clara and Lily suggested it casually. A small gathering at a friend's apartment. Just close friends, Lily said. No pressure, just show a little, see how it feels. My heart thudded at the thought. The idea of leaving the safety of my room, of stepping into the world as her, even just for a few hours, terrified me. But curiosity won. The walk there was a blur of nerves. Every step in heels, every sway of the dress, every glance at my reflection in shop windows made my stomach twist. I caught snippets of conversation, laughter, and felt eyes on me. Maybe noticing, maybe imagining. And somewhere beneath the tension, a strange thrill coursed through me. By the time we arrived, I was trembling. Not from cold, not from fear entirely, but from the rush of stepping beyond the boundary I'd carefully maintained for so long. The room was warm, filled with chatter, music, and light. And for the first time, I realized that being her didn't make me invisible. Made me seen. Clara whispered, "You're ready." And I nodded, swallowing hard. I didn't feel ready. But I also realized I might never feel fully ready. And maybe, just maybe, that didn't matter. It happened gradually, almost imperceptibly at first. One evening, after a long day of subtle experiments, trying on scarves, soft sweaters, practicing delicate gestures in the mirror, I caught myself smiling in a way I hadn't before. Not the nervous, awkward smiles that hid in corners, but a smile that felt warm, real, like it was blooming from the inside out. That night, I decided to spend longer in front of the mirror. I brushed my hair slowly, imagining how it would fall in soft waves, and applied a little makeup, just enough to highlight what I already had. The reflection staring back at me wasn't just a stranger. I recognized it. Her looked back. I whispered her name quietly, a reverent murmur, and the sound made my chest tighten. Saying it out loud felt like claiming something that had always been mine, even if I hadn't known it. When I finally stepped out of my room, I noticed a change in my movements. The sway of my hips, the tilt of my head, the soft, measured steps, they weren't forced anymore. They felt natural. I didn't have to think about them. My body remembered what my mind had long denied. And with that awareness came an unfamiliar freedom. Jake noticed it first. I didn't plan it, didn't intend to reveal anything, but he paused mid-conversation one afternoon, eyes widening slightly, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. You seem different," he said carefully. Not judgmental, not mocking, just curious, intrigued. My heart skipped. There it was again, the electric thrill of being seen. I wanted to explain everything, but I didn't. Instead, I smiled softly, letting the silence do the talking. Somehow, he understood. Clara and Lily were constant gentle guides. They noticed subtle shifts I hadn't even realized myself. "You're glowing," Clara said one evening, brushing my hair back from my face. "Not like before, more you." Lily added, teasing. "I told you. You're amazing. You just didn't know it yet." Their words no longer felt like pressure. They felt like permission. Permission to exist fully as this version of myself. I started exploring more deliberate transformations. I experimented with new outfits, delicate accessories, and soft touches of makeup. Every new layer, every small change, felt like uncovering a hidden room inside me, a space I'd longed to enter without knowing it existed. With every discovery came both a rush of joy and a spike of fear. Fear of judgment, of being too bold, of being caught. And yet, the thrill outweighed the anxiety. One night, Clara invited me to a small gathering. The group was close-knit, familiar faces that made the room feel safe. I hesitated, my nerves taut, but I agreed. The moment I stepped out, fully dressed, heels clicking lightly against the floor, I felt the world shift. Eyes lingered, not judgmental, not leering, but curious. And for the first time I didn't recoil. I held myself taller, smiled, let the subtle confidence seep into my movements. Somewhere between laughter, conversation, and gentle teasing, I realized I was no longer hiding. Not completely. There was an exhilaration in being visible, in existing outside the safe walls I'd built around myself. And then came the unexpected, a look from someone across the room, a warmth, a spark, a curiosity reflected back at me. My chest fluttered, my stomach twisted. I hadn't expected this. Not yet. That night, I wandered to a quiet corner, catching my reflection in a tall mirror. The girl staring back at me was alive, radiant, fragile, and confident all at once. I traced my fingers along my cheek, feeling a strange intimacy with myself. "I like this," I whispered. "I really do." It wasn't just about appearance anymore. It was about identity, about permission to explore facets of myself I had buried under layers of routine and fear. I began to see possibilities, small, tentative, beautiful possibilities of who I could be if I allowed it. The following days were a dance of discovery and hesitation. I started practicing gestures, soft movements, and ways of speaking that felt more natural to this version of me. I experimented with my voice in private, practicing soft tones, subtle inflections. Every tiny success reinforced the thrill. Every stumble brought laughter and humility. The emotional stakes deepened as I noticed how differently people responded to me. Compliments, curious glances, casual kindness, they all felt heightened, amplified. I realized that being her wasn't just a performance. It was an extension of who I had been all along, a piece of myself that had been waiting for recognition. And then came a moment I didn't expect, a quiet conversation with Jake. He didn't ask questions. He didn't comment directly. He just sat beside me, gently nudging me with small remarks, playful teasing that left my heart fluttering. There was no judgment, only curiosity, only acceptance. And in that I felt something shift internally. I realized I wasn't just enjoying the transformation. I was beginning to embrace it. By the time the week ended, I wasn't the same person who had first touched that dress. I was more aware, more confident, more attuned to subtleties I hadn't noticed before. And yet, I also carried a fragile vulnerability, a sense that this discovery could be undone, misunderstood, or judged at any moment. But for the first time I didn't care. I was becoming her, not just in clothes or gestures but in spirit. And that realization, terrifying, thrilling, and intoxicating all at once, was the heartbeat of everything that would come next. The night of the big gathering arrived, and I couldn't shake the knot of anxiety tightening in my chest. This wasn't just a small party or a casual outing. It felt like stepping onto a stage with no script, no safety net, only my reflection and the fragile version of me I had been nurturing for weeks. Clara and Lily were cheerful, chatty, effortlessly confident. They draped their encouragement around me like a warm shawl, but even their warmth couldn't reach the tremor in my hands as I slipped into the carefully chosen outfit for the night. A soft, flowing dress in pale lavender, shoes that clicked delicately against the floor, and makeup that highlighted rather than masked my features. I looked at myself in the mirror, and my breath caught. She, the version of me that had been hiding in whispers and stolen glances, was fully awake, fully present, and for the first time completely visible. The walk to the venue was a blur of nerves and anticipation. Every step in heels reminded me of my vulnerability, yet each sway of the dress whispered permission, urging me forward. My mind flickered with the familiar voices of fear. What if someone laughs? What if I'm judged? What if I'm not enough? But mingled with that fear was something new, something uncontainable. The thrill of authenticity, the intoxicating pulse of being seen. The room was buzzing with familiar faces, laughter spilling in soft waves. Music floated from speakers, mixing with conversation, clinking glasses, and the subtle hum of life. And then I felt it, the awareness of eyes turning toward me. Not hostile, not critical, curious, attentive, drawn. A thrill shot through me, and for a fleeting second I panicked, doubted myself. My heart raced. I wanted to retreat, to hide, to become invisible again. Then came Jake. He approached me with that same quiet confidence, the smile that made my stomach twist and flutter at once. "You look amazing," he said, voice steady, eyes warm. Froze, words failing me. Amazing. That word echoed through me, more powerful than any fear, more binding than any doubt. I laughed nervously, trying to sound casual. "Thanks," I whispered, my voice lighter than I expected. "Really?" he insisted. "It suits you." "The you I mean. It's like, I don't know, it just fits." The simplicity of his acceptance hit me like a wave. And yet, right behind it, fear surged again. What if he didn't understand? What if he liked this version of me but not me? I could feel the tension in my chest, the twisting pull between wanting to disappear and wanting to shine. Clara nudged me lightly from behind, her eyes twinkling. "Just breathe. Be yourself, whoever that is tonight." I nodded, but it didn't feel simple. Being herself, or being her, was uncharted territory. Every step, every gesture, every glance felt magnified. I realized that tonight the world wasn't just watching. I was watching myself. And the reflection staring back was waiting for me to decide. Embrace or retreat. Happened suddenly. A casual comment, lightly tossed in jest, but it struck deep. One of the guests, unaware of my internal turmoil, said something about appearances, about people fitting expectations. The laughter that followed felt like a spotlight on my insecurities. Heat rushed to my cheeks. I froze, suddenly hyper-aware of every inch of myself. And then the whisper of my own voice broke through. "You belong here. You deserve this." It was a battle, internal and invisible. My heart wanted to run, my mind screamed retreat, but my soul whispered something else. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. I stepped toward the group, lifted my chin, and allowed myself to be fully present. My hands, trembling a little, rested lightly at my sides. My smile was small, tentative, but real. And as I spoke, laughed, and moved with them, I felt the walls around me dissolve. Every nervous thought, every self-doubt was still there, but they no longer controlled me. Jake leaned closer at one point, his voice soft, teasing. "I didn't know you had this side. Honestly, I like it." My heart jolted, a mixture of panic and exhilaration. "Like it." Those words were both dangerous and liberating. They were acceptance, they were recognition, they were proof that I could exist outside fear and still be seen. Clara caught my eye across the room, a quiet smile of pride and reassurance. Lily raised her glass in a subtle, conspiratorial cheer. And I realized fully that I wasn't performing. I wasn't pretending. I was simply being. And that was enough. Later, alone for a moment in a quiet hallway, I caught my reflection in a window. The city lights danced across glass and skin. She was there, strong, soft, delicate, alive. And I touched the reflection gently, whispering the name I had come to cherish. We are here. We're real." Fear still lingered, it always would, but it was tempered now by an unfamiliar strength. I had faced judgment, faced my own insecurities, and emerged with a spark of clarity. This was me. This was her. And whether the world accepted it or not, I finally accepted it. By the time the night ended, the room felt different. The music, the laughter, the gentle teasing, all of it now seemed like a backdrop to my transformation, a canvas on which I could begin painting a new identity. A fragile, thrilling, exhilarating identity. And in that moment, I understood that embracing her wasn't a single act. It was a journey. One filled with fear, doubt, curiosity, and joy. One that I was no longer willing to deny. The morning after that unforgettable night, I woke to the soft hum of the city outside my window and a quiet calm inside my chest. The apartment smelled faintly of lavender, lingering from the night before, and I realized that even in the light of day the version of me I had been discovering, still lingered. I didn't feel the urgent need to hide, to shrink, or to erase. Instead, there was a sense of balance, a fragile but beautiful harmony between who I had been and who I was becoming. Clara came in with a mug of tea, her smile easy and knowing. "Morning," she said lightly. "Sleep well." I nodded, still absorbing the echoes of the night. "Yeah, I did. Weirdly, I feel lighter." She laughed softly, setting the cup down on my desk. "That's because you let yourself exist. Not pretend, not hide. Just exist. And that's always heavy when you carry it alone." Her words hit me in a way I hadn't anticipated. I realized that my secret, the part of me that had been buried for so long, wasn't a burden anymore. Sharing it, even in subtle ways, had lifted a weight I didn't know I was carrying. Over the next few days, life felt both ordinary and extraordinary. Ordinary because the world didn't shift dramatically. The streets, the school, the apartment, they were still the same. But extraordinary because I carried a new awareness, a quiet confidence that hadn't been there before. Small moments became rich with possibility. Brushing my hair just a little differently, noticing how soft fabric felt against my skin, smiling at my reflection without fear or shame. Jake, too, had become a comforting presence. We didn't speak openly about that night in detail, not yet, but his casual acceptance, his teasing warmth, made it clear he saw her, and me, and didn't recoil. There was a spark there, unspoken but undeniable, that made my heart flutter in ways both terrifying and thrilling. The apartment itself became a safe stage for my experiments. Scarves, dresses, subtle accessories, all were no longer just curiosities or stolen indulgences. They were tools for self-expression, tiny acts of courage. I laughed quietly at my own awkward attempts, stumbled over heels, smudged a bit of makeup, but each mistake felt like progress, like a soft unfolding of layers I had long hidden. One evening, as I traced the reflection in the hallway mirror, I paused, taking a deep breath. "You're here," I whispered to her, my voice steady. "We're here. And we're not going anywhere." It was then I realized that the journey wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about being flawless or fitting an ideal. It was about recognition, seeing myself fully, tenderly, and allowing the world to glimpse the same version of me. There was courage in that, vulnerability in that, beauty in that. Clara noticed the change too, in small ways. The way I held myself, the quiet assurance in my movements, even the faint glimmer of joy that seemed to trail behind me. She didn't push, didn't pry. She simply smiled, letting me inhabit my identity at my own pace, gently guiding without pressure, celebrating without words. Lily dropped by one afternoon, eyes sparkling. "You're radiant," she said, and I laughed, a soft, unself-conscious laugh that felt real. "Thanks," I said, shrugging, feeling a warm satisfaction in her compliment. "I think I'm finally getting the hang of this." The reflection in the mirror no longer scared me. I didn't see a stranger. I didn't see someone I needed to hide from or run away from. I saw a person whole, fragile yet strong, playful yet thoughtful. A person who could slip between worlds, the safe, familiar past and the thrilling, uncharted self she was becoming. There were still fears. There always would be. Fear of judgment, of misunderstanding, of accidental exposure. But those fears were no longer paralyzing. They were part of the terrain, not the end of the journey. And with that awareness came freedom. That night, as the city hummed softly outside, I stood before my mirror once more, letting the soft glow of the lamp highlight her features. I whispered her name, a quiet reverence, and smiled. "We did it," I said softly, almost to myself. "We really did it." And in that moment, I realized something profound. This was just the beginning. A single, unforgettable night had opened a door I hadn't dared to knock on before. And now, with tentative courage, playful curiosity, and gentle guidance from those I trusted, I could step through, again and again, into the self I had longed to meet. The reflection smiled back, radiant, gentle, alive. And for the first time, I understood fully that embracing her wasn't a one-time act. It was a lifetime of small, courageous steps. And somehow that was perfect. I took one last breath, feeling the soft fabric against my skin, the warmth of recognition in my chest, and whispered with quiet certainty, "Thank you for being you, for being me, and for letting me finally see us." And as I turned away from the mirror, I carried her with me, not as a secret, not as a shadow, but as a real, living part of who I am. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel.